And the only reason it's coming in at a 9.2 and not higher is because of one thing in this movie.
I stand by that number, but also I feel like it deserves a higher number in a way.
Pregnant lady running away from zombies, that's horrifying. I'm having a great time at the Halloween party, of course.
Clip that, clip that, clip that. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. We're your back asswards boys. I'm Kyle.
I'm Arden, and this week we watched Train to Busan, and tonight we are going to be putting it up against the internet's most scientifically accurate horror movie rating scale.
Hold on to your asses, because things are about to get backwards. Director Yoon Sang-ho's live-action debut stunned audiences around the world when it premiered in 2013. While Train to Busan grossed $85 million off a budget of just $8 million, it was criticized for not being the most original take on the genre. But it is hard to argue that the eponymous setting of the film does add a layer of terror that the cast goes through. Solid performances from the ensemble, coupled with fast and brutal effects, create an effective zombie movie that quickly became a cult sensation.
I also feel like now would just be a good time to let you folks know. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We are going to be spoiling Train to Busan tonight. So if you have not seen it, go watch it and then come back. But as always, folks, we are going to start with the directing of this movie. And I have to say, one of the standout things for the directing in this movie is the pacing. The pacing feels excellent for like 95% of this movie, I will say. There was a little part at the end that I feel like we could have, tightened up a little bit. But other than that, the pacing was phenomenal, especially for a movie this length, I have to say. Yoon Sang-ho spoke on how he wanted it to be a quick-paced movie with a simple plot elements that help move that story along. And it shows in the movie. Again, because the pacing was so good, I felt like not a lot of things were very precious in this movie until the end with Seok-woo's death sequence. But at that point in the movie, it was earned. The last thing that I have to say about the directing in this movie is that for an ensemble movie with an ensemble cast, this movie did a great job in making me care about all of these characters. So I'm coming in at an 8.1.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add beyond the fact that you could really tell that the entire film was unified as a vision. Every single department was on the same page as to the goals that they were trying to achieve. And I think that obviously speaks to the quality of the directing that we were getting in this movie. I said in the beginning that this movie was criticized a bit for being kind of generic, but what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with doing generic well. And I think that they absolutely did that here. I gave the directing an 8.4. And to keep on that train of the quality through generic traits, we're looking at the writing next. Right at the top, just like the top of the movie, I want to shout out the outbreak scene. It's genuinely one of my favorite zombie outbreak scenes in the genre. It's really, really, really good. The father-daughter relationship in this movie is also really, really well written, and they weren't too precious about it. They built the relationship very well with very, very few actual plot points about their relationship, right? The action in moments, it's a little over the top, but guess what? It's an action movie. That's the point. I also loved the light and dark cycle that we get when the train goes through the tunnels. It almost compressed the time in the film into several days, several short days. It was really, really cool. I liked that little tweak that they did. I gave the writing an 8.0.
I gotta be honest with you folks. I loved the writing in this movie. And I was saying this to Kyle. I don't know if it is the translation from Korean to English that kind of heightens the translation, but I felt like the words on the page were so good. So my score is coming in at a 9.2. And the only reason it's coming in at a 9.2 and not higher is because of one thing in this movie. This movie revolves around what doors are open and what doors are closed. And that's not inherently a bad thing. It's just this movie relies on it a lot for the first hour and a half of the movie. And so that's why it's coming down a little bit to a 9.2. And now moving on to the cinematography. And folks, it's so good in this movie. And particularly with the cinematography, just while we're here, I want to shout out the editing of this movie. Something that happened in this movie that really impacted Kyle and I as film appreciators, I guess you could say, was the actual title drop of the movie itself. Not only does it again speak to the pacing, nothing was precious about it, but it is so effective in its storytelling and in setting the tone of the movie when you pair it with the pre-title drop scene, which I think is one of the best pre-title drop scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie. I know we said that for Evil Dead, and that's still true. This is also true. I love the cinematography. I'm coming in at a 9.2.
I did really enjoy the cinematography in this movie. I don't think it impacted me quite as hard as it did Arden. But I did love the POV shots that we got throughout the film. There were several sequences, but specifically I really liked the pulling into the very first train station when we see the zombies actually attack people trying to get onto the train. Very well done. I came in, again, a little under Arden at an 8.3. And the music and sound might be one of the more lacking points in this film. By no means is it bad. Don't get me wrong here. Please don't mistake me. It's not bad at all. The soundtrack, it's actually pretty good. It's just a little generic. It's beige. It blends into the background of the movie a little bit, but the sound design was very decent. I did like the zombie sounds. I liked that most of it was like human possible sounds for 95% of it, you know. That was really, really cool. I gave the music and sound a 7.8.
I agree with everything that Kyle just said. I will say that I do think that the music and the sound is, again, one of the less desirable parts of this movie. It does blend in, it does help support what's going on, but not in any like extraordinary way. So I'm coming in at a flat 7 for the music and sound design. But I feel like this leads us to a very important question, which we ask on every single film review, folks. Kyle, is anything from this movie making it on your playlist?
I mean, like, probably. I'll probably end up throwing a song or two on there, but like, to be honest, I kind of feel like I need to listen to the soundtrack on its own again before I can pass a full judgment on that. But probably, yeah, I'll probably throw a song or two on there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like it. And now moving on to the acting in this movie. And folks, this was also one of the stronger aspects of this movie that I feel like. I will say that some of the acting is a little corny, but I feel like everybody's characters ended up landing really well. I also feel like, to defend the actors a little bit, what with Kyle and I having performance backgrounds, I just have to say, I also felt like some of the circumstances that the characters were in were so extreme that there is no way to portray these moments in a grounded way, i.e., when the muscle personal trainer guy is running towards the train as it's taking off to go to Busan, and he picks up a riot shield and a baton and just starts whacking these zombies with a high-speed rail train running away from him. There's no way that you can portray that in a grounded fashion, right? And to speak to the groundedness, there were moments of groundedness from these actors. And I feel like the corniness of the rest of the acting actually assisted in these grounded moments being more impactful. Like when the guys are all in that little bathroom scene where they're all kind of razzing each other, right? I really liked the acting in this movie. It is one of the more effective components of this movie. So I'm coming in at an 8.6.
Yeah, like I said back in the beginning of the movie, man, it's an action movie, you know? And the zombie genre, when we're talking about the subgenre of zombies in horror, I feel is the easiest place to kind of sneak an action movie into a horror movie, and I don't know, I feel like we see that, but despite that, all of these actors were putting in work. They all did really good in an action movie. I came in a little bit under Arden, still loved the acting. I'm giving it an 8.1. And the effects, one of the very cool things about this movie, we love to see it. Most of the effects in this movie are practical, and the ones that aren't, I will say, you can tell. It's definitely not aged super well, a lot of the CGI, but the practical effects are done really, really well. I really like the design of the zombies. It's not too over the top. These people aren't immediately starting to like rot and turn green and stuff. They still look human because they've only been zombies for 10 minutes, And I think that's great. It's grounded, it's a little bit more realistic. Another really cool part of the movie is that they actually brought in professional choreographers to help these zombies find their physicality and find the different movement. And so that the zombies would have a unified movement. They would all move in at least similar ways so that it makes sense, right? Now, if we're being honest, the blood is a little bit lacking in this movie, just a little bit. I want more. I want more blood. It doesn't need to be 70 or even 80,000 gallons of blood or anything like that, but they could have added a couple $1,000s to the blood budget. That's all I'm saying. I did really enjoy the effects though. They definitely fit into the movie very, very well. I'm giving the effects an 8 on the nose.
I could not agree more with everything that Kyle just said. The only effect that I feel like I really want to highlight, and this is more so in the makeup department, but again, during that first outbreak scene, that her leg during that sequence looks incredible. I really like the effects as well. These were less effective effects for me, for lack of a better phrase. So I'm coming in at a 7.8.
Yeah, that first infected leg's kind of carrying, honestly. That's like one of those horror movie images that's like right here. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
And now moving on to the vibe in this movie. And folks, I have got to say, the vibe in this movie is immaculate. I really, really love the premise of this movie. I really, really like the circumstance that we find ourselves in. Train movies and zombie movies, I feel like you usually don't see that put together. And this is just a really, really nice demonstration of what that looks like. I do feel like I want to bring something up, though, that Kyle and I talk about quite frequently when we talk about the vibe of a movie. This movie runs 118 minutes, right?
Right. It's above the limit.
It's above the 90-minute mark that we talk about all the time on the show. And I feel like you could probably cut 5 to 10 minutes out of this movie, and it would have been just as impactful. Kyle and I actually had a very long discussion after the movie about different ways that this movie could have ended that we would have found more satisfying. And maybe we'll make another video on that sometime. I don't know. Probably no one cares.
Did we not get that on the recording?
I don't think that we got that on the podcast.
No.
I don't think that this movie earns its entire runtime, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't on the edge of my seat for the whole movie. Like Kyle and I were locked in for the last hour of this movie. I was peeing, pooping, shitting myself, right? It was crazy. I love the vibe in this movie. I'm giving it a 9.5.
Yeah, the vibe is, I think, my favorite part of this movie. It's really great, even if it is, a little bit of a popcorn movie. That's okay. I promise. Let it happen. Like Arden said, you could probably cut a couple of minutes. We don't even need to kill any babies to really do it. I think it earns 90% of its runtime, though. It does a great job. And, there's really something about this movie, and I can't, it's je ne sais quoi, I cannot put my exact finger on it, but it really like punches above its weight class. Spoiler alert, we know what we've rated this movie already. And Arden and I looked at the number and we were like, I stand by that number, but also I feel like it deserves a higher number in a way, because this is a freaking-tastic zombie movie. But I stand by every rating I've given it so far. So, we're not going to change anything. Just the final number doesn't speak for how much we love this movie.
Yes.
They are two independent things.
Right. Exactly.
I gave the vibe of this movie a 9.2. Fucking loved it.
Mm-hmm. Now, this moves us on to another very important question that I get to ask Kyle this time. Kyle, do you feel like you can put this movie on at the Halloween party?
I legitimately forgot that you were asking me this time. Yes, I think you can.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a great one, because we get so many, the plot is there's people on the train fighting zombies. That's all you need to know. And you can kind of tune in and out, if you want to, right? And you can still follow what's happening. But if you want to sit on the couch and watch the movie and be antisocial at my Halloween party, please get up and talk to us and don't just watch the movie. You can also do that. So yes. My gut reaction says yes.
No, I agree completely. I feel like this is a movie that's really easy. Like, I feel like you could show up to the Halloween party halfway through this movie and have a great time watching it with everybody for the rest of the time that you get to watch it, right? And like you said, it's almost like the shapes and colors that occur in this movie make it very easy for you to just come into the circumstance, right? Pregnant lady running away from zombies, that's horrifying. I'm having a great time at the Halloween party, of course.
Clip that. Oh my god, that's amazing. That might be my favorite thing you've ever said. Holy shit. Which brings us to the scares and the kills. And the scares and kills were very emotional in this one. Like Arden said, they were never really too precious with the characters at any given point. So not only are the zombie kills pretty brutal, but we lose some characters, some core characters, in some pretty rough ways as well. But, beyond that, the actual, zombie kills, for the vast majority, they're fine. There's nothing memorable. But, this isn't necessarily a movie you're watching for the kills, right? This isn't a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This isn't a Final Destination. This is a Train to Busan, right? So I can let that slide a little bit. I'm giving the scares and kills a 7.8.
I agree with Kyle wholeheartedly on everything that they just said. And I will say, and I'm usually not one to bring this point up. I want to be honest here. I'm usually not one to bring up this point because I love jump scares. There are a lot of jump scares in this movie, like too many jump scares. I feel like it just barely, 5% over into too many jump scares in this movie. And so for that reason, I'm coming in just a little bit above Kyle at an 8.0. And now, moving on to our special category for this film. And this movie is a zombie film. So the special category tonight is going to be the zombies in Train to Busan. And let me tell you something. These zombies frighten me, dude. I would not want to be in this zombie apocalypse for any reason whatsoever. How fast the disease is transmitted and how it is transmitted and how quickly you lose your consciousness is horrifying. And I feel like fast spreading zombie apocalypses might be the worst zombie apocalypse that can be conceptually thought of, right? I really, really like the zombies in this movie. 9.3 from me.
Yeah, the only thing I really have to add, I fucking love these zombies. They're terrifying. And any long-term deep dive fans of the show will know that I'm fucking terrified of the knot deer and chronic wasting disease. So the pre-title drop really hit very hard as well. That one might be the actual scariest zombie in the whole movie. I'm giving the zombies a 9.6.
The way that zombie deer stood up was nightmare fuel. Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun. That's right. It is award season because it's award season every single week on the Backasswords channel here. And our best performance for this film is going to Kim Soo-an as Soo-an, the daughter in the film. I mean, like this girl, I don't want to say carries the acting in this movie because there's a lot of other good performances, but hers is consistently strong in every single scene that she is on screen for. And again, to have a kid that young be that good at acting traumatized, I hate it. I don't like when they can do that. Congratulations. Phenomenal work.
And this is kind of like The Exorcist in a way, right? With Linda Blair, where it's so interesting to watch a child actor be so technically good as an actor and communicate like complicated emotions like apathy at the beginning of the movie and then just like an overwhelming amount of grief at the end of the movie, right? It was truly mesmerizing. She deserves best performance 1,000% for this movie. And now, folks, moving on to our best effect award, perhaps what is the most coveted award on the Backasswords Boys channel. And we're hitting you with something that we have kind of been harping on the whole video, and that is the outbreak sequence, but specifically the first zombie. We mentioned the leg. We mentioned the kill. It is a wonderful tone setter for the rest of the movie, and the effect elevates this moment all the way up to a 10, to an 11. So tonight it is going to the first zombie in the outbreak scene.
All right, guys, we're going to do some math. We'll be right back.
5 hours later.
And we're back.
Oh my God. We're back.
I came in at an 8.3.
Yes, and I came in at an 8.5 for this movie, which means that our Backasswords cumulative score is an 8.4.
And that means, and I think that this is actually the first time we've ever had this spread, because IMDb came in at a 7.6 and Rotten Tomatoes, of all places, came in at 95% for this movie. Woo. And I don't think we've ever had the spread of IMDb at the lowest, us in the middle, and Rotten Tomatoes at the top. I don't know that that's happened yet. And it feels icky. I don't like it, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, I already have a problem with Rotten Tomatoes quite a bit because
Yeah.
of their list of the top 200 horror movies.
Oh, we don't need to dig that up again.
But this is kind of what Kyle and I were talking about when Kyle was saying that this rating feels a little low because of how fun this movie is and how effective this movie is. It's also just surprising that Rotten Tomatoes would give a horror movie a 95%, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, yeah, but I think the clash is happening, Arden, because I'm talking to you here now. Something you need to accept is we are film critics now.
This is the 11th film.
And so we are being critical of the films.
Correct.
Does not mean we didn't enjoy it. It's
No, absolutely not. And for those of you who have been following our ratings, you would know that this 8.4 rating puts Train to Busan in between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974 at an 8.85 and Arrival at an 8.25. So I think that this is a fair placement for this movie.
I do.
That is how I feel about this movie.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for watching this week's review, everyone. If you liked it, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Kyle.
I'm Arden, and we'll see you next week. Stay safe. Stay weird.
Nature's real.
Okay. I brush my teeth and I sip drink.